Hello and welcome. It is Saturday, 12th day of October 2019. My name is Derek, like always. All bets, trades, and of the like, that is within each's own risk and their own reward. Cryptocurrencies, well, that comes in the higher risk, higher reward venture game. That's what I like, and I could only think some of you are also in the same venture since you're watching this particular video. We'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance, Bitcoin. I'll take a look at Blocknet. Also, want to talk about playing the low ass priced coins, and in this case, DENT, which is 2-3 bid ask ratio right now. And I want to talk about if I was to play it, how would I do it? Because there's really two key strategies in doing it. You could probably work both of them together somehow, maybe. And within it, let's also talk about aid coins having an interesting day as well. So I'm going to cover that Raven coin as well as the H bar Raven ratio that I've been starting. Okay, so Bitcoin dominance really with this hang in there, wait and see kind of deal, and yeah, so I'm just gonna hang in there. Let's look on Bitcoin as well. Oh, I guess not really. I was still stuck in these lines, but short term, we've made one lower high, and since the lower high, it's been making continuing a downtrend. So you got this high and this high, so you can say more lower highs there after that. From this low, we've gotten one more key low in place. We have the starting low, the lower low from this, or the first time getting below the 18 average. So far, a lower low, and it's resisting this previous area of support. And going down below this low, seeing this go to like 68 in the third area, or three quarters rather, the three fifths area. That's down to 68 and three fifths. Yeah, that would be stating okay. It looks like there's a good chance, probably might be hitting below 68. And then, of course, on always on a breakout, you got to at least do a break above the 18. It's still in decline, so its first thing is to flatten it out. Something it actually successfully did here, but wasn't able to hold, thus re-going down. And over this longer term, of course, the buyers have been in big control. Within this empty space, it has hardly filled any much at all. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. And on its daily term, from this decent sized break of this support and concise, large move, and that's normal when you break key levels of support and resistance, is what happened is just a sideways consolidation. What has not happened is coming back to where it came from. That's between 9100 and really the high 9000. So really, really nicely above 9000, but not at 9000. And within this, we've had price action make short-term highs, as we can see, but that's all it is short, not only for short-term, but short and gain as well. So the three little bears I talk about, not too big, not too small, and all this just right. Well, this is too small. Doesn't mean that this is what the move is going to be, because if this can successfully correct within this 18, and the 18 lows is right now barely rising, but I'm going to call it albeit flat, at about 80 and a half, 8,050, 8,070 will stay in that area, but close to 81. That's like the area of the must hold. I need to see weakness for this little area to be a fail. But regardless, it just seems so obvious that well, this level was supposed to go down to, and I don't got fib lines in there, but the low 6,000s. Not only is it a fib level, but it's a major historical level as well. And breaking it above here, well, where we came from, and that conservative level is what I stated in the 9,000, but more towards like you got like this little area here at 10.2, but a significant level back to the previous range, which then I mean these levels can go big. So if this is all we bottom and it starts to break out from here, the potential for monstrous gains of like 20, 40, 60, 80+% type moves become very live. Let's take next a look at just a coin that was suggested in the comments section, and I did a video. I gotta think it's been out 2 weeks or so. Stated premium content on a whole bunch of coins, and I want to do more of that. It's just two things have happened. Well, actually, other things, but the two main things. Number one, I've been trying to figure out this whole microphone thing, and the more that I pause it, the more it's been glitching, and that's the type of video content that's got heavy pausing on my end. So that's been one reason I've been reluctant to do it. So there was one comment, even from before, there was one from like even a month and a half ago. I want to do more stuff like that. I'm showing a whole bunch of different coins, fast and to the point. This one here isn't really fast and to the point, but I'm only showing about like five or so different things this morning. And that's in play. And also, of course, I didn't expect the hockey and football to bring me information like this, and I just have a huge passion for being able to build small bankrolls into larger ones. as well as just finding games that I can win at that are just new, or ones that I haven't really played, or somewhat new, or ones that I haven't played in a while. And well, none of these are all somewhat newer ones that I haven't played in a while. In that, of football players, over unders, and the hockey situation, which again was another like every other night last night for me. Didn't do so well in picking my players, but I finished fairly profitable, like 10% gains. Anyway, Blocknet. We were at 78,000 just as recently as earlier this year. Now down to 12. So you lose a lot. And in before here, well, the number was, it's lost like gained 100, lose 100. It's all of this type of stuff. All the coins, of course, are getting their asses kicked together. I've talked about dartboard rallies. Maybe they'll never come back again. Maybe they will. And maybe they'll be very aggressive or however. But we do know when these things go that they can go significantly well. Now, as far as the technical analysis on this is concerned, as far as this downtrend, and I want to start the downtrend even from, and I could go back even further, but from in here. So we're looking at every attempt and use the 18 average. In here, the 18 becomes flat. None of these are clear breakouts. All of these were attempts to revert the trend. And every single time it established a resistance it was unable to break above. Next attempt. As long as there's a declining 18, it's not getting to step to a flat. And here, it's doing a lot of aggressive plays. There's definitely profitability on the short term if you want to trade this, but it only comes close to flattening at the 18. Even then, like, not so much. Huge decline from here. Then it gets to the 18, and well, this is where it flattens it between May 18th to May the 20th. And there we have it. So there's your statement to try to break out. Failed breakout. And there could be spots where you buy in here thinking, okay, there's a clear breakout in here. Well, risk reward strategy, this is where you'd have to allocate things on a losing situation. And of course, if you were buying low here thinking it was cheap, you haven't been able to sell that yet, at least not at this point. If you bought down in here, well, this will give you the opportunity to sell anything when I talk about my traditional buy low, sell high strategy that I've talked about. So further within it, we can see declining within the 18. In here, this is a long weighted attempt to flatten out the band, and it pretty much makes an interesting statement July. But after establishing resistance, was unable to get above it. Weakness within the 18. Well, it starts going to the 18 right back in here. And then it comes to where you would expect it to go, this previous area where it came from, with this sideways correction. And then when you consider the buy low, sell high strategies again, at least at the lowest levels here, you could have been buying in the, wasting in the hot, at 17,000 and a bit below. And this managed next to go up to like 24. So anything that you could buy in here did give you selling opportunities, even selling up here, buying down there, just using your buy low, sell high strategies. These days are awesome just if you could be there to time it, or if you're able there to be able to have your orders in, and you could just be like a truck driver strategy, as I like to call it, meaning you just check like once a day. And I guess maybe not a truck driver, but yeah, nowadays with internet in your own truck, but where you're just able to check the internet like once a day when you do your busy other lifestyle, and you allocate whatever time's needed. Most days you spend a minute, 2 minutes to see nothing to do, and some days you spend 1 minute, 2 minutes to see you got 5 or 10 minutes of work to do. And as it goes, we can see that this failed breakout was came down below the 18, resisted on a couple of times, and there's been one leg lower from the break of this 12 number where it's congesting at now. And now, same sort of deal. We got the situation of establishing this level of resistance, and within the 18, you really need to see it get above this to think there's any realistic shot. You can have some fantastic type of movements. Other than that, just putting your orders in back and forth, well, I mean, just the market will do what it does. When you have these types of downtrends like this, you can be making some plays here and there, but when you have situations when, say, a market loses, say, 12 times its value, and you're only doubling or tripling or whatever, even quadrupling your holdings, you're still technically losing. But in your situation, if we're going to have a long-term spot, we're just going to continue having sick up and down moves, well, then the sick results can come to your favor when you have stuff like that. Well, everything you'd be accumulating down here, be so happy you did triple your funds because of all the great sell opportunities you'd be able to allocate later on. Now let's move on to LITECOIN. And when you see these kinds of moves in here, That's knowing that you're there to have your orders in, and that you're there for the timing, either or. The movements are amazing, or the profit for your portfolio, because everything in here you sold, you can buy back. And then you sell in here, buy back, buy some more in here. And then obviously the buyback and the buy then mores got sold, buybacks. You can sell a bit, maybe buy back, but the entirety of this run was selling. And of course, these individual days that had those kinds of movements, well, they're magnificent. Obviously, from that point, there really hasn't been too much more. We had this day on here on April the 8th. Anything you could take advantage. And I was in this and I haven't been in it for a while. I've probably up since, obviously, at least on the exit of it, since I've been in it. And then we've had all these moves. But then you have these moves in here. But from June the 19th to now, okay, we had this day, but what kind of volatility were we talking? High 267, low 158, open 188. Well, still some serious numbers. This day here had a high of 166 and open of 101. And I like to say open 101 because that's pretty much what the price would have been around at that time. You would have known it. So, okay, what do I do for a 30% move? Maybe I should have stayed in this, man. Wow. But here we have coming into today price action just between 100 low and 115. Easy to buy and sell at those prices. And next thing you know, it goes up to about 400. Now currently in at 219. Markets do what they do. This will just happen. And you could say, oh, it's manipulation. Well, just think of tangibly what manipulation means. And it might be. But if there is, and I'd not say there is, but there probably is, there might not be. Just one big owner of this coin. They can buy this market up to 400, not that expensive, because they're the ultimate buyers and sellers. So they're not going to sell. They're not going to sell to themselves when they buy. Meaning it really wouldn't cost them as much as you would think. And they have their strategies in place, just all this accumulation for quite some time. And they're like, okay, we can buy up to 400, have our buy average go to this. If we could try to find a way to hold the market at this, we can do this. And then if we can build a big market, we'll just sell it completely big at this point. And then they do all those types of strategies. That could easily be in play. And whether you know that or not, if it happens, then you play the buy low, sell high strategy, because this would be a day where it's like, oh my goodness, what you could sell. Let's take a look at this on the shorter term. And on the 15, we can see it all happened yesterday. Well, something happened here. 8:45 to 17:30. Either the market stopped trading for a period of time, or there were just no trades. But we can see here, 23:45, then 6:30. That meant nobody traded for like 6 hours, which makes it just put your orders in and let it work. And in this case, you're like, okay, how am I going to play your orders? Okay, well, if you were to ask me, and I'm of course I don't know what's going to happen, but you're like, okay, how do you do it? Well, you see, I bought at 124. I'm in the market now. How do I? Well, you put your buy orders below. We're not going to put them in, but maybe you put one in at like say 105 or whatever. Okay, I want to put an order in, say, I put a short-term number in, say, at 137, and then just another filler upper, maybe up at, say, 149 previous high. And then you would just be like, okay, how do I do the rest of them? I want to put a lot of orders in. I want to put like dozens and dozens. Okay. Well, in case it breaks that, put a little order in, say 177. And I guess after that, we'll put another one in at about 215. And then we'll put together one in about 272. Whatever, 271, somewhere in that area. And then we'll put another one in 342. And then a whole bunch over that number that doesn't hit. And of course, not intentionally, but just maybe you don't get the high, maybe you do. But in a spot like this, if you're going to put a bunch of them and a move like this happens, it's how many do you hit, how aggressive do you work, how do you handle the situation. And when time goes on, that means that if you're seeing this live, well, at this stage, it's probably better that you didn't see it back at 259, because you'd be like, oh, I'm going to buy it now. Well, now you see it at 219. Well, it means your 342 you could buy back at 219 right now. Your 271, maybe you put an order in to buy it back at, say, around the 200 or so area. And of course, because you already bought back at 219 now from the 342, Let's just put some more sell orders in. Let's put another order in here, and even maybe put even just another, just because we can, let's put another order up here and just replay our numbers again. We're playing high volatile markets, yada, yada, yada. And then for each sell that we had, like even I have to manage the sell that I made at 149. I'm going to put that maybe down at 70 or 50 or something. And then the 177 sell might be at like 100 or 80 and just so on and so forth. I can just because I realize a lot of these times these moves, I'm going to look to buy back where it came from. I'm going to be able to say 108, 110. Even if I sold at 390, I might look at that. Of course, I wouldn't, but because I've got allocated cells, I'm going to allocate a few of those or cells to. Well, obviously, one would be right now at 219. A little bit again to the upper end of this, like this area here. Some more to where we came from at the 100, and then some more for lower lows as well. Okay, let's move on to Raven Coin, H bar, and the ratio of those two, H bar and Raven. So on the triple hour time frame, which is heading back to a little over a month ago, pretty much around Labor Day area time frame, price action, well, it's had a good run since September 24th. We managed to support in here at the start of October the level of resistance near the uh, the 21st area. I was going to say the equinox, and we support this area of resistance here. And no supporting of this. Yeah, no supporting of this, which is interesting here. But maybe it looks like it's not needing it. What do I see? I see an interesting situation here, as we've had this level of resistance come back down, retested here, then resisting in here, and this period is broke it out, and well, to me, this looks like this is poised ready for a decent size move higher. And in viewing it via the daily term, we can see all the strength that's been shown at the 18 average of highs really in this spot. Nice little curvature formation, and then a couple days ago, it had this nice little move up 14%. And then the sideways pause day yesterday, meaning what has it been doing after the fact, as we've seen on the short term. There's a lot of empty space here. This thing could for example, if I were to look at, say, options trading, the traditional markets, I'm like, okay, show me some options for like 700 for like 20, 30, 40 days from now, man. This thing could be sick. That's the type of things I would think of in that game. But for me, I'm trading this against H bar, which is a relatively new coin. I mean, this is what the daily term looks like. But hey, it looks like it's going down, and that's what I want. I want when one of them's going up, I want the other to go down and fight back and forth. That would just make things more volatile for me, more better. And then going to the single hour term, pretty much from the beginning, we'll just scroll it this way. All of this decline from the outset. Then we've had this little bit of rally, establishing major resistance from where this first move came to at 549. It got devalued, downgraded, I guess the word I was meaning to say originally, to between around the 500 or so area. Never any clear breakouts above it, but it's to say that it's lost momentum from the October 5th high. Well, that's definitely an understatement, but it's the truth. And we make this high in here, and it's showing a possible declining situation. So it would be ideal for me if Ravencoin in the next couple or 3 or so days is going to have a break higher, that this could maybe have a break lower, and then maybe Ravencoin will have to correct some of its gains down, and then Hedara Hashgraph will have to have at least a dead cat bounce higher. That's the type of things I would at least hope for as far as the ratio of the two coins together. And I'll do it the same way for the hourly time frame and just scroll like this. So going down to start and having its normal choppy up and down movements in here. Now down to 0.948. I was last in at 0.98. So I would need a decent sized breakup. But that's what I figured based on when I sold that if Ravencoin has a break, that this thing could very easily head nicely down, because I don't think I want to trade this unless it gets to around zero point 0.8, and anything nicely below would even be better. And really just play the big volatility and hoping that's what it is. Because as I looked at it, I'm thinking, man, if this thing goes wild, we're in the early stages of it. Ravencoin is a very volatile, wild coin, and this could be an interesting situation. Again, I want to put these together rather than trade against Bitcoin for that. I want to increase both of these holdings in this trade. And then you get to the situation when, like dartboard rally type of movements, where everything is up at one time. Now I'm like, okay, how much of everything do I want to sell for Bitcoin? And then I'll do that, and I'll sell it for Bitcoin, then I'll do what I need to do with my Bitcoin there after that. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye bye.